I am Becky Anderson, and I am extremely grateful to the Utah Sports Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. Congratulations to my fellow honorees, and in particular my good friend, Murray High colleague Larry Swim, who has been a huge influence and support in my life. Thank you to my family, friends, former colleagues and players for being here tonight. It means the world to me. As an athlete, coach, and state sport administrator, I learned the importance of teamwork. Know the necessity for teamwork, because nothing of great value is accomplished alone. This honor represents the collective effort of many amazing people who shared my journey, worked alongside me, and more often than not, led the way. There's no time to mention all their names, but I can see their faces, I remember their words, and I will never forget their efforts in my behalf. I share this honor with all of you. Looking back on my journey, I would like to share 3 guiding principles. Discover your passion, find your purpose, and remember the people. Competing against my brothers in our backyard is where I discovered my passion and my desire to play. Any sport, anywhere, anytime. My loving parents and 6 extraordinary brothers made me believe I could do anything. Their example, influence, and love has been invaluable in my life. I am thrilled they could all be here tonight with their wives. Playing softball at the University of Utah under Coach Norma Carr changed my life. As a coach and an advocate for equal opportunities for girls, Norma taught me the importance of putting your passion to work to benefit the lives of others. Through her efforts and example, I found my purpose. And my purpose took me to Murray High School, where my dreams of teaching and coaching came true. I still remember how intimidated I felt stepping onto the court and into the classroom for the first time, and how grateful I was to my colleagues and coaches who became my mentors and friends, teaching me to enjoy the journey even during the difficult times. Thank you to all of my Murray friends for 29 wonderful years. To my players, you were the reason for my journey. Thank you for the love and support you have provided to me throughout my life. I have to acknowledge Principal D. Jensen and his wife Lolita because of the significant role that they have played in my life. There wasn't a career decision I made without their advice and their approval. Finally, I remember the people with whom I worked at the Utah High School Activities Association. To Dave Wilkie, thank you for believing in me and offering me the job of a lifetime. To Jeannie for leading the way. To all of my UHSAA colleagues, especially the staff. I would not be here without your efforts in my behalf. It was a joy to be part of such a selfless, committed, and loyal team. The work this small staff does under the leadership of Rob Cuff, serving the needs of our students and schools across the state, is simply miraculous, along with the efforts of our administrators, coaches, ADs, and the UIAAA leadership. In closing, I give a heartfelt thanks to my clinicians, rules interpreters, officials, judges, festival meet and state tournament directors, announcers, and scorekeepers. Your expertise, knowledge, and support were invaluable to the success and the joy of my journey. I share this honor with you. Thank you again to my colleagues at the Utah Sports Hall of Fame Foundation for this tremendous honor and the opportunity to thank those who made it possible.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dave Hoch, the athletic director at Northridge High School. A few weeks ago, I got a phone message to call Dave Norquist back as soon as I could and before I talked to Mia. Well, I was excited because I thought May's getting an award and I could help Dave out some way. So I called him back excited and said, "Hey, Dave, what can I do?" And he said, "Hey, I'm the chair for the Distinguished Service of the Utah State Hall of Fame Foundation, and that I'd been selected this year." And I wasn't ready. I was totally shocked. My brain went fuzzy for a little bit. And Dave, I don't remember anything of the conversation after that. I'm sorry. But after I hung up, I was on my way to meet my family in May for a birthday dinner. And on the way, I thought, man, that Dave Norquist, he's a comical guy. I think this is a practical joke. And Phil Russell's going to call me any minute and say, "Hey, Dave, April Fools." But when I got to my family, May walked up and whispered, "Have you told anyone yet?" I said, "No. Is it true?" And she said, "Yes," as she laughed at me. So here I am today, and Dave and Phil, it's too late to give me a phone call. There's a lot of people I like to thank, but especially Coach Blaine Sylvester at Weber State, who brought me here from Oregon to play baseball, sight unseen, and I hope I repaid him. Harry Burchell, who gave me my first coaching job at Bonneville High School, the JACL, the Weber and Davis School District, Northridge High School, Principal Brian Hunt, May Mia, and Susie and Kevin Jensen, who've always been there for me. To my 3 daughters, Jamie, Tracy, and Haley, for all the hours they spent working with me on athletic fields. Those are memories I'll never forget, and they never complained when Dad wasn't home for dinner. To Janice, my wife and best friend of 42 years, for her help, guidance, wisdom, and patience, and heavy on the patience. She has been an inspiration for me every day of my life. I brought this scrapbook with me that my dad made for me when I was 15 years old. And what's inside is not important. It's what my dad attached to the outside that is important. It's a motto that I have strongly believed in for 50 years. And it explains a lot about who or what I am today. And it simply says, "The deed is all, the glory not." Thank you, Dave, and the Distinguished Service Committee. I'm very humbled and deeply honored for this, and congratulations to everyone else that's being honored tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
My name's Ron Haun. I've been coaching football for over 40 years. I started out my first coaching assignment working for Sarkar Selenian at Weber State as the freshman coach, as a graduate assistant going to school at Weber, and then I transferred down to BYU and spent a year as a graduate student working for Tom Hotspeth, and then I went at Skyline High School as my first coaching assignment. And was at Skyline for 7 years and coached with under Ken Schmidt, and learned a lot of football there and had great success. We won 3 state championships, and I transferred and took a job over to Murray High School, and I spent 5 years there, and we won 2 state championships, and then I took a job at Ricks College and was at Ricks College for 26 years. And had an opportunity in those coaching positions to work with some tremendous individuals, great character kids, hardworking, had great success, and I've always been associated and had great administrators and a great staff and great assistant coaches, and everybody that's been involved in the program have just really helped the success that we have had. I learned very early on that it's not what you do, it's who you do it with, and so I'm sure that any success we had was a result of having some very good football players who knew how to work and put in the time and pay the price. And got to associate with some great coaches. After Ricks, I spent a year as an offensive coordinator at Weber State working for Ron McBride. I have a lot of respect for Ron. He's a great coach, and it was really an enjoyable year. And then I took, in 2006, I took over the Dixie State University head football position and was there for 4 years and worked with the transition of Dixie going from a junior college to a 4-year school. Had a great experience. And I've just had tremendous assistance along the way. I owe a lot to my wife, who's been a great football coach's wife. I consider her a head coach of all the programs I've been in. She's put in the time and been very, very supportive. My children, Trent and Rebecca, have been there along the way. Trent played for me and helped in some of the coaching positions that we've had. And my daughter's been a great booster and a great fan. And my immediate family, I grew up in an athletic family. My older brothers, Pete Haun, and my stepbrothers, Wayne Starton and Ron Starton, were all athletic and played college football. Pete played at Utah and Wayne and Ron played at BYU. They all played at the same time, and great rivalry there. And I got to see college football firsthand and fell in love with it, and it encouraged me to go into coaching. And so I owe a lot to my older brothers and for all the assistance they've given me. And I just really thankful and would like to thank the Utah Sports Hall of Fame for this great honor. And I know it's not an individual honor. I'm sure that those that I've worked with and the players that played for me also recognize it as a great honor to them too. So this is something you don't do by yourself. So I'm really appreciative of this honor and recognizing the programs that we've had an opportunity to work in.
Hi, I'm Craig Gladwell, and I'm honored to be here this evening. You know, I grew up playing Little League Baseball, and I was fortunate to have my dad be my coach for several years. And he taught me how to be a coach with probably not even knowing it, but he taught me how to treat people. I've also had a number of outstanding assistant coaches through my career that have made me a better coach and a better person. I've learned something from each and every one of them. I'd like to recognize a number of them this evening. Lyle Henderson, Wayne Henderson, Neil Fuller, Chad Thompson, Myron Mickelson, Scott Story, Bob Barnes, Craig Jensen, Kyle Christensen, Larry Shumway, an administrator. I'd also like to thank the NIAAA, which is the State Athletic Directors Organization, and the many years I've had the opportunity, continue to have the opportunity to serve with them, and the many relationships that I've developed there. You know, the players are the real reason I'm here at this time. I wish I had time to name all of them. They are in my heart and they are a part of me, and I'm so grateful for all of their efforts. You know, in order to build a program, you have to believe in what you are doing. You have to sell that to your players, and once you do that, you're able to have success. You know, I learned partway through my career that philosophy was the most important thing that you have. Not the X's and O's, but how you do things, and teaching correct principles to your players. Honesty, integrity, hard work, unselfishness, overcoming adversity were all very beneficial. Helping your players to become productive citizens, good fathers and good husbands. You know, it's not all about the wins and losses and the championships, but the best results are the relationships and the life outcomes. I'd like to thank my family, my two daughters, Cammie and Brooke, and all that they put up with and all of their support through their growing up years, and the wonderful mothers and wives that they've become. I also had the opportunity to coach my two sons, Brian and Tweeb. You know, it's difficult coaching your own kids, and I know a number of coaches really struggle with that. And though I had hard times and dealt with it as well, you know, their hard work, their dedication, their mental toughness was second to none. And they made it easier on me, and I was so grateful to have that opportunity to coach them, and I'd do it all over again. I'd like to thank my wife, Karen. She was and still is my strength. She put up with a lot, which of course all spouses do. Time away, long nights, crazy fans. You know, the highs and lows, I was blessed to have her there, to be there with me, as she made the highs better and the lows not so bad. I'd like to thank the Sports Foundation Hall of Fame, and especially my sponsors, Ron Carling and Evan Exel. I'm honored and humbled with this recognition. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Esther Halliday. In 2004, Norma Carr gave me a call and wanted to nominate me for the Utah Sports Hall of Fame. One of the stipulations was that I had to be retired from coaching for 2 years. I did not meet that requirement, as I was still coaching. I retired in 2005 from coaching, and I retired from teaching in 2006. I rehired in 2007 as a district PE specialist in Jordan School District, and 2009 as a PE teacher in Canyons District. I was very disappointed that 14 years had come and gone, and I had not received a call back. I was certain that I had aged out. But thanks to my very good friends, Brad Bevan and Deb Bennett, they nominated me for this very prestigious award. This award is the crowning achievement of a 42-year career in education, to which 31 years was dedicated to coaching. Looking back, they are some of my best memories, involving young women who worked diligently and had talent that elevated their school's success. I had fellow coaching peers who strove for success in their sport programs and were very successful in achieving state ranking status. I was part of an elite group destined to set the standards for other schools, and I'm very grateful for the time that I had in the spotlight. A most memorable memory was when Bingham's volleyball teams achieved 3 back-to-back state titles, the second of which was somewhat expected due to the fact that we had most of our players returning. But the third was unexpected and only achieved due to the sheer and determined attitude of their only senior, Michelle, Pete Peterson, and her leadership with their amazing junior team. When we won, I jumped up so fast, I fainted. My assistant caught me before I hit the ground, and I recovered and celebrated with my team. I started teaching and coaching in 1974 when women's sports was in its infancy, and so was Title IX. It was difficult to get a foothold in the school's athletic program because facilities were used by men's athletics and fewer coaches and staff were available for the girls. Eventually, it all worked out, and court time was shared, and the men and women's programs began to thrive in part due to the amazing leadership of our principals. I would like to thank Denny Carlisle, Bingham's first female principal, for her outstanding support and wisdom in promoting women's sports, and Tom Hicks for his continued support as he served as principal. Thank you to the athletic staff for the years of camaraderie, and thank you to the many athletes who passed through the hallowed halls of Bingham High School and have gone on to their own successes. I would like to thank my family, friends, and co-workers who stood by me, supported me, shared my achievements and my misgivings, and are here tonight to help me celebrate. It is truly a life well enjoyed and a memorable career. Thank you.
My name is Mike Hansen. I'm the head wrestling coach at Layton High School for 31 years, and I'm very humbled and honored to receive this award. I began my wrestling career in the 7th grade, I think mainly to get out of milking cows. Back then I had no idea that this would take me on such a rewarding life experience. Alvin Daly was my high school wrestling coach, and I thought after high school my wrestling career was over, so I registered for a trade school. A week before school started, Wes Christensen called me up and offered me a scholarship for Ricks College. That led to a scholarship at Brigham Young University. I was privileged to be trained by 3 great coaches. All 5 of my brothers wrestled at the Y, and I was privileged to wrestle with 3 of those during my time. All were WAC champions and several were NCAA All-Americans. After graduating from the Y, I received a job at Layton High School. I was hired by Von Barber and I'll always be thankful for him for taking a chance on me. I've been fortunate enough to have great assistants to help me build the program, and they were now Mayor Bob Stevenson, Alan Porter, Tom Moore, and Merrill Johnson, and I've learned from them all. I also appreciate fellow coach Carter Cook and Dee Burton for their friendship and support. I think it's important to have great people around you, and I've been blessed that way. I want to give a special thanks to Paul Smith. He not only recommended me, nominated me for this award, but also his support for me in the wrestling program at Layton High School while he was a principal. I know my kids, my children always mentioned how much they appreciated him, his participation, and his encouragement during wrestling events. You know, it's not easy being married to a coach, and especially a wrestling coach. We're gone a lot. And I'd like to give a big thank you to my wife, Charisse, for her support, and also my children. They've made parenting fun. I also, last, I'd like to thank the hundreds and hundreds of young men that have allowed me to spend a part of my life, part of their life, in some small way. Some of them I recruited right out of the principal's office. I will always have a special bond with them. You know, coaching has never been about me. It's always been about those young men and their success, in both on the mat and in life. It's been a great ride, and I thank you for this honor.
Hi, Coach Kuhlmann here. I'm really excited for the upcoming honors and awards banquet. The response from my family, friends, and alumni has been overwhelming. Thanks to the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me, it's been very overwhelming. This honor not only reflects on my efforts, but those around me. My wife, my family, school administrators and staff, and a whole bunch of supportive parents, coaches, and of course very talented, wonderful student athletes. Thanks to Glenna Padfield and Terry Schellenberger for being my sponsors, and to Evan Exel for nominating me. Evan is the president of my Southern Utah Good Guy Club. And my favorite people are Joe and Monty Marshall. Timpview stole them away from Escalante. Monty is from SUU and a wonderful coach and friend. When I first heard I was going to work at Timpview High School, I was standing next to old Tom Fulmer from Paiute, and Tom goes, "Well, you'll be going where the boys are." And he was half right about that, because there's a lot of wonderful girls there too. The girls team was under the coaching of my friend Wayne Sorensen. When we first met, we decided that we would work together. We decided that the boys and girls would be one team. So during the 20 years that we worked, team unity was our goal, and when Wayne wasn't winning, or when I wasn't winning, Wayne was. During the years that I was there, we had 41 state titles in track and field. 7 of our school records were also state records. I've been blessed to have such a loving and caring wife, Jan. She's definitely my Hall of Famer. And another thing is, when you go to any school, you're only successful as the front office allows you to be. So thanks, Brad Monks and Dr. Monterio. You guys keep up the good work. There's other coaches I'd like to thank. There's Jason Walker, Nolan Goodwin, Paul Smith, Gary Clark, Coach Wong, Bill Valora, Richard Taylor, and my Navajo buddy, William Franklin. So parents, thanks for your love and support. And T-Birds, keep up the winning tradition and keep soaring. Don't look down, don't look back. Run through the finish line and praise God in all things.
Hi, I'm Roger Pyper, Wasatch High School head coach for 33 seasons. I'm very humbled and grateful to be inducted into the Utah Coaches Hall of Honor. To me, it is the absolute greatest honor that a coach can receive in the state of Utah. I would like to thank several people that helped get me to this spot. First of all, my wife Susan, who I met in 1974 at the University of Utah. We were both getting our master's degree. We got married in 1976, and then I became a faculty member alongside her in the Wasatch County School District that same year. I was asked early in my career to be the head assistant coach to the boys basketball program at the junior high school. And I told my wife about it, and she says, well, that's a nice offer, but Title IX has just been put into the state of Utah, and we're going to create a girls basketball program, and you're going to be involved. I said, yes, I guess I am. And the rest is history, as I would not be here today if it wasn't for my wife Susan getting me started into girls athletics. Also, I want to thank our two children, Christopher and Hollis, who grew up on the fields and the courts that we were coaching on. They became statisticians, ball boys and girls, assistant coaches, scout team players, etc., including athletes themselves. And they were a big part of our success. Also, in my baseball program, I would like to thank my two assistant coaches, Norman Kohler and Doug Hardy. In girls basketball, besides my wife Susan, Marjorie Carlisle and Steve North. One of the great lessons that I learned in coaching, amongst many, is that girls were willing to compete at the highest level and wanted to be pushed to the limit, much more so than I ever anticipated growing up. I grew up in boys athletics, I grew up coaching boys, and I grew up even in the military. I coached men. And women were always watching. They were drill teaming or they were cheerleading. And to find out how hard they worked was just a very humbling experience for me. And I was asked several times during my career at Wasatch High to switch over to the boys and help coach them, and I always refused because I thoroughly enjoyed the girls' programs. One last thing I would like to say is I'd like to thank Coach Philip Russell from Ogden High School for sponsoring me for this award. We had very, very intense competitions for many years, and I think he actually ended up one victory ahead of me. But I'll always thank him for this honor. And again, I'm grateful, I'm appreciative, and it's the ultimate honor in my coaching career. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Larry Swim. I coached swimming at Murray High School for over 30 years. I really want to put out a big thank you to the Utah Hall of Fame Sports Foundation for this award. It means the world to me. Never in my wildest dreams did I think my career would take me to this point. I need to put some thank yous out there to large groups that really impacted my career. First, my family, specifically my mother and father, who when I was in junior high started us in this world of competitive swimming, and it just kind of took off from there, and I stayed with it for my entire career. To Murray School District, who took a chance on hiring me when I was 22 years old, allowed me to develop my program, and supported me every time that I had issues. They had my back, and I really appreciate the administration and my teaching colleagues at Murray High School. Utah swimming coaches. I can't say enough of how much support and knowledge you guys shared with me, and it really helped my program. So thank you for that. And then the swimmers, the hundreds and hundreds of swimmers that came through my door, drank the Kool-Aid that I was selling, bought into what I wanted them to do, and they made a commitment to put the work in, to have the fun, to have the discipline, and to develop not only themselves, but to compete at a higher level every year after year. And so thank you to your swimmers. I can never repay you for the kindness and the love you guys showed me over the years. And your parents, thank you for sharing your children with me. Thank you for helping me run the meets. Thank you for setting up the travel and doing all the things coaches don't have time to do. I'd be lost without you. And then finally, one quick story. Throughout my entire career, Brighton High School and their swimming program set the bar so high for everyone else. They were the ones that everybody wanted to take down if they could. Year after year, we never swam in the same qualification, so we never swam together at state, but year after year I would make sure Brighton was on our schedule because I wanted to swim against the best. I wanted my kids to experience good swimmers. And year after year we got it handed to us, except in about 1994-95, big article in the paper about how Brighton's girls team was going to have their 200 consecutive victory that afternoon at Murray. Well, I wouldn't tell you this story if it didn't have a good ending for Murray. The streak ended then, and that meant a lot to me. The state championships mean a lot, never trade them away, but that one signature win, because it worked so hard to overcome to get my kids to believe that they could do that, was really one of the highlights of my career. Again, thank you for coming out, and I really appreciate the Utah Hall of Fame Sports Foundation. Thanks again.
Hi, I'm Jody Warren. On behalf of Jody, I'd like to accept this honor given him by the Utah Sports Hall of Fame Foundation. There are many people I'm sure he'd like to thank, because after all, it takes more than just one person to build the successful wrestling program and coaching career that he had. First of all, I need to thank all the fantastic assistant coaches that he had. He had Ted Peterson, his athletic director and assistant coach for 20+ years. Some of his other assistant coaches were Burke Stone, Don Noseworthy, Tucker Nipko, Brandon Nilsson, Kurt Mock, Jeff Toller, Mike Ross, Josh Henderson, Craig Dart, Tyler Rackham, Jack Brisky, and Jeff Ewer. He had great junior high and elementary coaches that prepared the younger kids for high school wrestling. He had Weber High principals that supported him in every way they could and had more team spirit than most cheerleaders. He had many wrestling families that donated, volunteered, helped, and cheered from the time their kids were in Little League till they were in high school, and continued to support the program even after their kids had graduated. Some of these diehard families were Briskys, Mocks, Royballs, Bruckners, Malins, Halls, Nipkos, Woolseys, Martins, Van Burens, Rosses, Heaps, Webbs, Ortegons, Buswells, and Earl and Annie Henninger. He had wrestlers that came back after high school to help him coach. He had many more come back just to say thank you. A couple even said their military basic training was way easier than Coach Warren's conditioning and wrestling practices. Jody's journey to his successful career and the passion he had for wrestling started back in Star Valley, Wyoming, when he watched his older brothers wrestle, and then he himself wrestled at Star Valley High School. The next step was getting a wrestling scholarship to Weber State, and there he wrestled for Coach John Webb. When Earl Henninger hired him at Weber High School, he had found his place. I'd like to share just a couple fun memories. The first year Jody and Ted ran the Warrior Duels, Alta beat us 72-0. 12 years later, we were able to return the favor, and we beat them 72-0. Being able to start the Warrior Duels with 8 mats and not having to borrow any was a big deal. Keith Buswell writing a poem about the team, Bob Bruckner making a photo collage all about Jody's lost keys, Tucker Heap beating Vernal's local stud on their turf and not being sure we could get back on the bus without getting beat up. There are so many great memories, but one of the very greatest was the 2006-2007 season. Shea won state for the 4th time. The team went undefeated in duels, won all the tournaments that they entered, won region, and won state by more than 100 points. It was an unbelievable journey to follow Jody's wrestling and coaching career. I've made lifelong friends. His wrestlers and my children have learned dedication and hard work, which continues to benefit them in their adult lives. And I thank all of you who had any part of that.